guys, welcome back to A Man's Memories. I'm Chris. I do travel guides, adventure guides. There's a lot of new faces, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join me on this journey of discovering the world, discovering myself, and sharing some nuggets that I've learned along the way. So I'm really grateful for all the support that I've received in the last 10 days, 2 weeks. And I thought I'd do a recap, the aftermath of Burning Man. I'm back home. I dusted off my little hat. And I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for the support and love that came across. I'm really glad that you all enjoyed it so much that you decided to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It helps me out a lot. And I wanted to kind of go over some of the questions I received and give some insight into the aftermath of Burning Man and what I really thought at the end of the day going through such a tremendous event. All right, question one, would I go again? The answer is probably, but I'm not 100% sure. Here's why. It takes a lot of work to go to Burning Man. There's checklists of things you have to do in order to make sure that you are safe and you are okay with all your campmates and all the different things that are happening. So you really have to prepare for it. It's not like a festival where you just pack a bag and you go. There's no facilities, there's nothing there, so you really have to make sure that you're prepared. A lot of people told me, actually, after the first time you go, it gets easier. So I really enjoyed it. I think I've taken a lot from it, and I probably would go again, but we'll see. Question two, how was my camp set up? So let's talk about this for a minute. There's different types of camps. There's sound camps, theme camps, and just open camping. So you can go to a sound camp that hosts usually like DJs and different things and sound stages. So that's where all the people sleep who are like performing on art cars and different things like that. And then there's theme camps that are dedicated to a theme, like the Ashram Galactica, which is a hotel in the middle of Burning Man that lets you sleep there if you win a raffle. Cool experience, whole different story. And then there is the general camping area, open camping, and so you can just camp on the outskirts of the city and just show up and do that as well. So the question is, how do you get into like a theme camp or a sound camp? Well, a lot of them are based in different parts of the country, and so you know somebody who knows somebody, and you are either in that scene or you are friends with people. So for me, I was friends with someone who was part of a theme camp, and so they invited me if I wanted to join them this year, and so that's what I did, and that's how that works. Question number three, how do you actually get there? So there's an airport in Reno where you can land, or if you're from the state, what a lot of people do is actually drive there. You go past several different towns in order to get in, and there's a very high controlled area on the speed limit, on the traffic, and then there's also a car limitation on where they let people come in and out. And so that's basically called pulsing. They basically make sure that when you come in with your car, that they only let a certain amount of cars onto the road so do not overburden the traffic of the local area. And that is something that they also do. So a lot of people drive, some people fly, and then they take a bus. You can take a Burner Express bus also from the airport, from San Francisco, and from different parts of the country to get to Burning Man. And then it's in the Black Rock Desert. So that's why people call it Black Rock City. And that is where the location is. I won Burning Man apparently because it only took me 20 minutes to get in. And that is super not normal. I came in on a Sunday morning, like at 10, 11, and it only took 20 minutes to get in. So I was really happy and fortunate. Stop at my local watering hole. Cheers. So just a side note on the camps. The camp I was with was called the T-Shirt Factory, and the T-Shirt Factory is a camp that has been around for a long time, and they do like stencil art and T-shirts. And so they were like using spray paint and fabrics, or you could bring your own fabrics and then like spray your T-shirt, which was great. So it was one way to get involved in the community and also gift things. Which leads me to my next question. How do you gift things? Well, gifting is basically the way it works at Burning Man, and it's a gifting economy. I wouldn't call it even an economy. It's more like a way of being nice to people and just being kind. You know, that's one of the radical inclusion, right? And so one way you can include people is by gifting things, and so that's an easy way to do that. I also gifted stuff on my own. I had like a little shtick that I did with a suitcase that I'd shown in some of the other videos, and that had like numbers you can pick and get a gift from me for like hygiene, which was really cool and fun, and people really liked it. Question number 4, where did I stay before I got to Burning Man, and how did that all work? So I drove from SoCal. I live in the San Diego area, so I picked a midway point and I stayed somewhere. I think in Bishop is where I stayed for one night, and just to be rested. And then on the way back, I did the same. I stayed in Bishop. I tried to stay there, but I couldn't get a hotel for a good price. So that's one thing I would say, like if you go to Burning Man and you're driving, book a hotel beforehand, like way in advance. Don't wait like me, like 6 weeks or 5 weeks before. It's pretty expensive. Like the normal Super 8 was like $200, which is insane for a Super 8. But because there's so many people coming, they rack up the prices, which is a whole other mess, right? So I stayed in a couple of hotels before and after the burn to just get rest and, you know, take care of myself. I'm driving by myself. I was driving by myself, I should say, and so I didn't want to like get in an accident or, you know, do something I regret. Number 5, how do I get a bike if I don't have one? And also, what about all the bikes and the lights? Well, easy enough. You can get a bike on your way there. So there's places that rent bikes right outside of Gerlach, I think it's called. And if you get off the highway, there's basically plenty of places that rent bikes, and you can get one from them. It's really, really important that you have a bike with lights on it, and at nighttime it's pitch black dark, and you don't want to be a dark wart. Apparently that's what I call people who don't have any lights at all, dark wart. And so you put lights on your bike, and then you have, you know, all the lights on your bike at nighttime to make sure that you're seen for safety reasons, but also just for fun, right? Like it looks great. And I bought a bike on Facebook Marketplace. I didn't have a bike, and I just brought it up there on my car, like a beach cruiser, single gear, easy enough, fat tires, good to go. Doesn't have to be a fancy e-bike. I will say, like, an e-bike is probably a good idea if you are like getting sore quick. And yeah, some people took e-bikes. All right, let's talk about budget. So how much does it cost to go to Burning Man? Question number 6. I'm drinking 6, I think 6. So it depends. I kind of added everything up, and for me, I think you can see the total here somewhere. But it was like $3,000 almost, which is, you know, a lot more than you probably would think. But that's with a big fat asterisk. It's really how you budget things. So, you know, breaking it down, I bought a new tent, a shift pot, that was like $700. Then I bought a ticket and a parking pass, so that's $800. So that's like half the budget right there. Then I had to book 2 nights for hotels, like I talked about earlier, and miscellaneous items from Amazon and food and some other stuff. That was also some funds. And then I also built a swamp cooler and a AC system that kept my tent cool. So there's a lot of funds spent. I mean, if you're really doing it on a budget, you can get in for $800, and that's like you like going renegade, meaning like you do everything by yourself, and you know, food and everything. So maybe like $1,000 if you're like living on ramen noodles and you know, just bare minimum. But they say it gets cheaper over time. So, you know, I paid camp dues. I bought a tent that I wouldn't have bought otherwise. I'm going to use for other events now. And so next year, if I would go, it's probably going to be cheaper than it was this year. But yeah, I think that's a realistic cost. You just have to be realistic with how much money you spend. And then costumes as well, right? Like you ladies, you love costumes, so that, you know, factors in too. I wore some nice costumes as well, and I spent a penny or two on some of my pieces as well. Let's talk about driving out. So driving out from Burning Man is the whole thing. You have to basically break down your camp, you break down everything on the Monday when the temple has burned, and so people break down the whole entire site, like everything gets packed up. Some people already start with that on Friday or even on Saturday because their camps are so large, so it just takes a lot of time and muscle to get that started, and you can't break down in one day because people come and build a whole entire week before Burning Man starts, and that's called Build Week. And so there's a lot of time and logistics that are put into wrecking down, breaking down the camp, and then setting up the camp. I was leaving on on Sunday, because it was a long drive for me back south here in SoCal where I live. And I want to make sure that I was rested and not so exhausted as I was before. So that's what I did. Because I was leaving on Sunday, the day the temple was going to be burned, it only took me like an hour, hour and a half to get out. Some people leave after the man burns, which is on Saturday night, and then on Sunday people leave, and some people stay for the burning of the temple. I decided to leave on Sunday, which again, I won Burning Man because it only took me like an hour and a half to get out, and I wasn't affected by the big sandstorm that rolled in or the rain. And yeah, I got really lucky. I was like, karma was with me, I guess. And then I drove home. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in going to Burning Man, or if you have questions for me about my swamp cooler. If you want to see a video on that, I'm happy to do that as well. And what's next for the channel is I'm basically doing travel and adventure guides. So I try to post on a regular basis. It just depends if I'm going somewhere that's fun and great to do. And I would love to take you along for the ride. All right, bye.